नरोत्तमा देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 8, The Sons of Sagara Meet Lord Kapil Deva. Text number 27. Shri Shuka Vacha Itham Gita Anubhavaha Tam Itham Gita Anubhavastvam Itham Gita Anubhavastam Bhagavan Kapilo Munihi Bhagavan Kapilo Munihi Bhagavan Kapilo Munihi Amshumantam Uvacha Idam Amshumantam Uvachedam Amshumantam Uvachedam Anugrahya Dhiya Nrupa Anugrahya Dhiya Nrupa Anugrahya Dhiya Nrupa Shri Shuka Vacha Itham Gitanubhavastam Bhagavan Kapilo Munihi Amshumantam Uvachedam Anugrahya Dhiya Nrupa. Shri Shuka Vacha Itam Gitanubhavastam Bhagavan Kapilo Munihi Amshumantam Uvachedam Amnaya Dhiya Nrupa. Shri Shuka Vacha Itham Gitanubhavastam Bhagavan Kapilo Munihi Amshumantam Uvachedam Anugrahya Dhiya Nrupa. Shri Shuka Vacha Itham Gitanubhavastam Bhagavan Kapilo Munihi Amshumantam Uvachedam Anugrahya Dhiya Nrupa. Shri Shuka Vacha. Shri Shukadev Goswami said, Itham, in this way, Gita Anubhavaha, whose glories are described, Tam, unto him, Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead, Kapilaha, named Kapila Muni, Munihi, the great sage, Amshumantam, unto Amshuman, Vacha, said, Idam, this, Anugrahya, being very merciful, Dhiya, with the path of knowledge, Nrupa, O King Parikshit. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. O King Parikshit, when Amshuman had glorified the Lord in this way, the great sage Kapila, the powerful incarnation of Vishnu, being very merciful to him, explained to him the path of knowledge. Please repeat this translation. O King Parikshit, when Amshuman had glorified the Lord in this way, the great sage Kapila, the powerful incarnation of Vishnu, being very merciful to him, explained to him the path of knowledge. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta Swami translation. Om Ajnanatirmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. So this verse is spoken by Shukadeva Goswami. He is narrating the Bhagavatam to Parikshit Maharaj. And Shukadeva Goswami is describing different historical incidents. That's why this Bhagavatam is called Purana. Purana means historical, very ancient historical incidents which are very important for understanding the process of bhakti. Bhakti process is different from all other processes. That bhakti process is very easy, but it has to be done properly. Generally, something is very easy, we don't take it very seriously, we don't do it properly. Just like chanting Hare Krishna, very simple, very easy. But it has to be done properly. Then only you will get the result. So here we have an example of Amshuman. He came to the ashram of Kapila Muni. He offered prayers. Kapila Muni was very pleased with his prayers. And Kapila Muni taught him, explained to him the path of knowledge. So easy. What did he do to get that understanding from the Supreme Lord Himself? He simply offered how many prayers? Here I have Amshuman Vacha 21, 22, verse numbers 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. 6 verses. 6 prayers he offered. That's all. Over. See how easy bhakti is? Now for this knowledge, if somebody has to endeavor by other methods to get the same knowledge, then they have to do so much of difficult things. To the process of karma, they have to perform heaps of pious activities, millions of lifetimes, and gradually elevate themselves to the stage of understanding that all this material world, whatever enjoyment is there, it is illusory enjoyment. It is not real enjoyment. It's all useless, worthless. It can never satisfy this real self, the me inside. So to understand that, they have to do so many pious activities. Because in the Shastras, if you want this type of enjoyment, then you do this pious activity. Some other type of pleasure, some other pious activity. Some other facility, some other pious activity. So you go on doing all one after another, one after another, one after another, one after another. Now, while doing these pious activities, a person is becoming wise. Oh, this is not giving me pleasure. But there is another way of getting pleasure. So another way I'll try. Because as one keeps on doing pious activities, he becomes expert in doing pious activities. Not difficult to perform. Because I've done many, many times. Very easy. But to get the wisdom that none of these pleasures in the material world is really going to give me satisfaction, to come to that understanding, that realization, that takes time. By the karma process, it takes a long time. Because what happens in this material world, there are so many different levels of existence according to karma. Somebody has taken birth in a poor country, then they think, oh, in that poor country they'll be trying to be happy by whatever methods available. They'll think, oh, real happiness is not possible till I am in a poverty-stricken condition. So let me try to become rich. So then his struggle will be for becoming rich. Then after he becomes rich, then he thinks, oh, in this poor country, even if you have money, you can't get good facilities. America is a nice place, rich country, nice facilities. And if you have money in America, you can enjoy very nicely. In some African country or some Somalia, Ethiopia, so many people are poor. Even though I am rich, I cannot enjoy. So then, okay, struggle hard to go to America. Then after going to America, then try to enjoy all different technology and all kinds of comforts. So much is available, no? Simply it is bewilderment of Maya, that's all. But who understands that? It is simply illusory, distractions. Very difficult to understand that. Now, if somebody studies Bhagavad Gita properly, one verse Krishna finishes off this whole thing. Bhogaishwarya prasattanam taya aparuta chetasam vyavasayatmika buddhi samadhav na vidhiyate. Finished, over. All varieties of bhoga, enjoyable objects, and Aishwarya, all kinds of opulences, are useless, worthless in this material world. Whether somebody is a demigod in heavenly planets, somebody is a rich person in America, somebody is a king of some lower planetary system, nobody can actually get real happiness by any of these enjoyable objects or by opulences. There are planets in the lower planetary system which many people who are not conversant with Vedic wisdom, they do not know. where plenty of gold is available. Plenty of gold is available. So they are busy collecting this gold and making various ornaments and decorating themselves. Whole life they are spending in this. Somewhere else, there is so much of nice eatables available naturally. Don't have to cook, don't have to prepare. Plenty of fruits, plenty of vegetables, plenty of all kinds of nice vegetarian things are available. So they're busy trying this, tasting this, eating that, eating this. All that is explained by Shukadeva Goswami in the Bhagavatam. These planets are there. Of course, Parikshit knows none of those planets are actually real places of enjoyment. But Shukadeva Goswami is, through Parikshit Maharaj, he is educating all of us who are not conversant with all this. So then he is asking Parikshit, you want to go to that planet to enjoy? Every time Parikshit will say, no, I am not interested. So the wisdom of Parikshit helps us to understand that none of those places are really meant for experiencing real happiness, real satisfaction. Again, all this, if somebody hears the details, they may get convinced. But if you are intelligent to learn the Bhagavad Gita, and from the Bhagavad Gita you can easily understand all types of material pleasures are simply sources of misery in the long run. It may appear to be very, very pleasurable in the beginning, but it doesn't last. And after the pleasure is over, what is waiting is misery. Bhogaishwarya. No, what is that? Yehi samsparshaja bhoga dukkha yonaya evate adyantavanta kaunteya nateshu ramate buddha. Those who are intelligent, they don't waste time with all this. So, the karma process takes a long time, but to realize that there is nothing enjoyable in this world takes a very, very, very long time. And even after having spent a long time, they may be elevated to come to the platform of jnana. Jnana is the Vedic wisdom, the knowledge available in the Vedas. But again, in the Vedas, when they try to cultivate knowledge, they become busy with trying to understand what is matter and what is spirit. Because matter is temporary, matter is not the real substance. Spirit is real, spirit is the substance, spirit is eternal. So when they try to discriminate between what is matter and what is spirit, because in matter also there are 8 kinds of elements, of which 5 are called gross elements. These gross elements: earth, water, fire, air, ether. From earth to ether, it is becoming, earth is very, very gross. From earth to water, water becomes little more subtle. Then water to fire, even more subtle. Fire to air, even more subtle. Like we got these 5 senses. Earth, earthly element, has got all the 5 qualities which we can perceive through the senses. Earth, the main quality of earth is fragrance, smell. So everything which is earthly element, some fragrance is there. But included in that earth is the quality of taste, which belongs to the element called water. That is included in the earth, the taste, apart from fragrance. Then the form, that is the attribute of fire, fiery element, form. So that form is there also in the earth. So the smell is meant for this nose. Taste is meant for the tongue. The five senses. Correct? And form is meant for the eyes. Then the air element has got the sense of touch, the feeling, sensation of touch. That is the quality of air element. That is also there in the earth. Like you take different varieties of earth itself, the surface of this planet earth. Somewhere there is hard rock. Somewhere there is less hard, some other type of soil. Then there is very soft clay. So, softness to hardness, gradation in the earth. It's there, automatically there. Then the final sense perception, sound, that is the quality of ether or sky. So that is also there in the earth. Just like you take kartal, you play, there is the sound. Right? So, earth element has got all the five qualities of sense perception. But you come to water, water lacks fragrance. Water lacks fragrance. Water has got all the other four qualities. Then fire. Fire has form, has quality of form. But it lacks the quality of the previous two, earth and water. Why I am telling this is to analyze all different material varieties of objects which we think is enjoyable, but which actually has no pleasure inherent in it. Just like somebody, give a simple example, somebody visits another person's house. That person has bought a new dining table. Oh, very nice dining table. Where did you buy? How much did you pay? And so many things. Then person who has purchased is very proud. Oh, I have done a nice purchase. My friend is appreciating. Oh, we went to that place and that shop and there was a nice sale going on and I saw this beautiful table. And then the whole conversation ends in the friend who is visiting also desiring to buy that table. Why? If you have a nice dining table, we can enjoy eating nicely. Has your eating nicely got anything to do with the table? Isn't that foolishness? That you can derive more pleasure by sitting on a nice chair in front of a nice table and then eating. Where is the eating pleasure? It is actually in the food that you are eating. Of course, when you are eating, you require peace of mind. That peace of mind is not available by making all external nice arrangements. This is the foolishness of the conditioned soul. Always seeking peace of mind, because without peace of mind, you cannot enjoy anything. You cannot really be happy. Ashantasya kuta sukham. In 1/4 of a verse, Krishna finishes off this whole business of seeking peace by external arrangements. Ashantasya kuta sukham. As long as you are not having peace of mind, you can never be happy in this world. whatever other favorable arrangements you have made, you require to have peace of mind. And that peace of mind is not by external arrangements. Never by external arrangements. It is something to do with controlling the mind and the senses. Peace of mind is by controlling the mind and senses. That's why anybody who takes to spiritual life, yoga practice, yoga means real spiritual life. First thing that is taught in any yoga system is to control the mind and senses. Because as soon as you take up yoga practice properly, under proper guidance, you learn to control your mind and senses, you become peaceful. You become peaceful. Then, when you become peaceful, automatically there is freedom from anxiety, fear, that enviousness. All this will vanish when you get peace of mind. All these disturbing elements for the mind, when they're gone, you feel such a great relief. When you get real peace of mind, I'm not talking of peace of mind just like somebody is very, very agitated. They go to a park. It is very, very nice, very silent, beautiful garden, nobody to disturb you. Oh, I got real peace of mind in this park. But that is just relative. From a noisy place, you go to a quiet place, you experience some relief from that noise, you think, oh, you got peace of mind. That is not peace of mind. That is just relief from the noise, that's all. If noise is bothering you, then you get relief from noise, you think, oh, now I have got peace. But peace of mind is something else. It is not just mere relief from all the disturbing elements. It's something more than that. Now, who is going to explain all this? Who is going to help you understand all this? Therefore, the most intelligent person simply takes to the path of bhakti. Bhakti, you don't have to do all pious activities to realize there is no real happiness in this material world, in material enjoyment, in material opulence, in material power, material position. There is no happiness in any of these things. In bhakti, even a beginner in bhakti understands this. A beginner in bhakti understands this. So, the process of karma entails so much of difficult work in doing pious activities and trying out different types of pleasures that are available in this world without getting entangled in sinful life. Because karma, at least the understanding is there. The cause of suffering in this world primarily is sinful reactions due to sinful activities. So any person in the path of karma will never do sinful activities. So by that they are avoiding so many types of miseries which are due to sinful reactions. So many types of miseries. And the donkey-like sinful people, they'll keep on suffering, but they will not stop sinful activity. And therefore, they never get relief from miseries. They never get relief from miseries. You meet sometimes some people, due to bad karma, too many sinful reactions from the past. They are having some problem now. Then they say, oh, with great difficulty, I got rid of this problem. Then just one more problem is waiting around the corner. The bad karma is like, they say sometimes in Hindi, Sade Sati. 7.5 years, the influence of that Shani Graha, Saturn, planet Saturn. It's not the planet Saturn, it is your sinful reactions, which are a huge number of sinful reactions, which have all got accumulated to be experienced in the 7.5 years. So if you go to an astrologer, he will say, now you cannot get immediately relief from your sufferings. 7.5 years you have to wait. So what nobody tells you is, if you take to the process of bhakti, it doesn't matter whether you are experiencing 7.5 years of Saturn influence or you are having a Mangala Graha bad influence. Mangala Graha, by the way, is not Mangala, it's Amangala. It's a misnomer. It's actually a bad influence. But just to soften that feeling of something bad, it is called Mangala Graha. This is the material world, that people are anyway harassed by so many problems, but sometimes to give them relief from the problem, we say, oh, no, there is no problem for you. See, sometimes you go to a doctor. The person who is going to the doctor has got a very dangerous disease, cancer. Doctor say, just take this medicine, don't worry, it'll become all right. He is trying some medicine by which, if the cancer is in the initial stages, if it gets cured, why should I tell cancer? And simply the patient will unnecessarily worry, oh, now finished, my life is over. Cancer is not curable. So he'll say, don't worry, you don't have any. Doctor, out of sympathy for the patient, will not reveal. Because just the beginning stage. So out of good doctors, they will say, why should I unnecessarily bother this patient's head? So he will never reveal it's cancer. He'll say, take this medicine. If you don't get better, then you come back to me. I'll tell you, I'll change the medicine. But mostly this medicine will work. Don't worry. Take this medicine. Try it out. So like that, in the material world, sometimes, even if it is inauspicious, it's not called inauspicious, it's called auspicious. So, like this, when you take to bhakti, what people do not know is that bhakti is independent of all these past karma, some bad reactions, nothing. It's not dependent on it, whether somebody is poor or somebody is. Bhakti works regardless of all that. Whether somebody is educated or uneducated, somebody is pious or impious in the past, somebody has got bad habits or good habits, it doesn't matter. Bhakti doesn't matter. All those things don't matter. So, please understand very, very nicely, bhakti is not just another system of spiritual practice. Bhakti is not just one of the 4 yoga systems. No, it is not that. It is completely different from every other process, from every other practice. But bhakti is also very easy. Bhakti is not difficult. So sometimes people, after practicing a little time, because when it's said easy, they think, oh, very easy, I can do it. Very quickly I'll get perfection. But even bhakti, if you had to get perfection by following the process of bhakti, very quickly it's possible. But you have to properly learn the process of bhakti. You have to properly apply. You have to actually do it properly, nicely. Just because it is easy, if you don't do it properly, how will you get the result? Just like sometimes our devotees, when they want to learn cooking, so they'll be told, first learn how to make rice, how to cook rice. Easiest thing. Nothing needs to be done much. There's no big formula for that. Take rice, wash it nicely. The correct quantity of water you have to add. Keep it on the fire. And then you have to follow some simple high flame, 10 minutes, then it starts boiling, 5 minutes or whatever. And then after that you reduce the flame on low flame for another 10 minutes. 5 minutes high flame, 10 minutes low flame. Then you switch off. Oh, very, very easy, very easy. Very easy means you have to actually wash the rice. You have to properly measure the quantity of raw rice you have taken and add that water. All that you have to do properly, no? Very easy. Instead of adding 2 glasses of water for 1 cup of rice, 2 cups of water, added 4 cups of water. While putting the water, hearing some song and, lost in some other thing, wrongly measured. Actually has taken 3/4 cup of rice, but thinking I have taken full cup of rice. Because in a hurry to do, no, not properly doing, no patience to measure even 1 cup of rice properly. Mataji will be smiling. Because men don't know how to cook. They make all these mistakes. When they tell their husband, sometimes, that rice is very easy to cook. Do this. Oh, yes, I'll do it. They won't do it properly and rice will be not cooked properly, or it will be burnt, or it will be half cooked, or water will remain after 15 minutes of boiling also. So the point is that bhakti is easy, but you have to follow it properly. You have to follow it properly. And then, before they actually learn properly how to practice bhakti, they'll come to the conclusion, this is very easy. No, it's not working. Something more complicated, something more difficult will work actually nicely. This bhakti is not an effective process. Actually, bhakti is the most effective process. The reality is, the truth is, bhakti is the most effective process. So therefore, in the Bhagavatam, in this section, why I read this particular verse and did not go to other verses is, please try to understand. When Anshuman had glorified the Lord in this way, 5 verses, he glorified Lord Kapila. The great sage Kapila, the powerful incarnation of Vishnu, being very merciful to him, explained to him the path of knowledge. Now Krishna has explained, like Kapila explained the path of knowledge to Anshuman. Krishna has explained for all of us the path of knowledge in the Bhagavad Gita. But then when we study or hear or read the Bhagavad Gita, we don't get, simply by studying Bhagavad Gita, the enlightenment that Anshuman got. Why? Because Anshuman, before hearing from Lord Kapila the path of knowledge, he was prepared to receive that knowledge. In what way was he prepared? Look at the previous verse. The last prayer. O super soul of all living entities, he knows that the Supreme Lord is seated in the heart as Paramatma. He knows this. So he is differently situated than us. Many of us, we may read Bhagavad Gita, but we do not know the Lord is seated in the heart. So Krishna says, if you don't know, I will tell you that. Sarvasya chaham hrudi sannivishto mattas smrutir jnanam apohanam cha. Kapila did not have to tell Anshuman, I am seated in your heart as Paramatma. Krishna has to tell, because people may not know. See how merciful Krishna is. You may not know. So he's telling, I'll tell you, okay, but you don't know. But you have to take note of that, no? So therefore, Bhagavad Gita you study systematically from the first verse till the last verse. Some people, they'll say, oh, first chapter, no need to read or study. It's simply some description of some battlefield, Kurukshetra, and some warriors and some Arjuna lamenting, how can I kill them? All that is not important. The real Bhagavad Gita begins from the second chapter. No, Bhagavad Gita begins from the first chapter. Vyasadeva is summarizing the whole Vedic wisdom into 700 verses in the Bhagavad Gita. The entire Mahabharata, 1 lakh verses, is summarized in 700 verses. Already he has done the maximum amount of summarization that is possible. If that very, very valuable Vedic wisdom in 700 verses, you're not ready to even study that much completely. First chapter is not important, this chapter is not important, that chapter is not, this verse is not important. Then you are missing out something very, very important. See the mistake in the application of the process. If somebody buys Bhagavad Gita, you have to have the patience at least to go through 700 verses, no? That patience also you don't have. Actually, you're supposed to study Mahabharata, 1 lakh verses. But Vyasadeva could foresee these people will not have patience to study 1 lakh verses. Because everything is there in the Mahabharata. Everything is there. But then 1 lakh verses, who has the time and the patience? Impossible. Kali Yuga people. So Shankaracharya says that the Bhagavad Gita contains that essence of Mahabharata, which is simply meant for enlightening us in the topmost wisdom of the Vedic knowledge. I forget the words. Shankaracharya glorifies Gita very nicely. He says, Kalimala pradvamsina shreyase. This impurities due to the influence, bad influence of this Kali Yuga can be completely destroyed by studying Bhagavad Gita. And Shreyase, you'll achieve the ultimate benefit. You'll get the ultimate benefit, the highest benefit, ultimate liberation from material bondage, simply by studying the Bhagavad Gita. So many ways Bhagavad Gita is glorified. But if you don't study Bhagavad Gita properly, then what can be the benefit? You miss out. Similarly, here Amshuman is praying, O super soul of all living entities, O personality of Godhead. That also Krishna describes, that there is Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan. Bhagavan is the highest understanding, personality of Godhead, of the absolute truth. Krishna says, I am Bhagavan. Arjuna also, after hearing Bhagavad Gita, he says, you are the supreme personality of God. Param Brahma, Param Dhama, Pavitram, Paramam Bhavan, Purusham, Shashwatam, Divyam, Adidevam, Ajam Vibhum. In one verse, Arjuna declares, who is Krishna? Who is Krishna? So here already Amshuman has realized Lord Kapila is the incarnation of the Supreme Lord. He is the personality of Godhead. Simply by seeing you, I have now been freed from all lusty desires which are the root cause of insurmountable illusion and bondage in the material world. Simply by seeing Lord Kapila, this Amshuman, because he is able to recognize this Lord, this sage who is sitting there and simply doing tapasya, meditation, he is not an ordinary person, he is a Supreme Lord. And the sight of the Supreme Lord It is very, very auspicious, most auspicious. It can completely cleanse the heart of all dirty things, all lusty desires. Lusty desire means the desire for different varieties of material enjoyment. This is the sense in which you should understand lusty desires. Lust means the strong desire to enjoy materially. And these lusty desires are so many varieties of desires because of our long association with this material world, millions of lifetimes. All that can be destroyed simply by having darshan of the Supreme Lord face to face. But then when we actually come in front of the Supreme Lord in the form of the deity, we think this is some statue. We don't think here is real Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, transcendental form, full of unlimited opulences. We don't realize that. We don't think like that. We don't come so seriously in front of this deity. And when Krishna actually incarnates, we see him as ordinary person. In our ignorance, we think he's another king or another prince or another cowherd boy. That's the way we think. So, it is not easy to recognize God. But if you're able to recognize God, then just come in front of this deity, stand here, and the merciful glance of the Lord can cleanse your heart completely. 1 second is enough. But then there is a preparation that is required to recognize this deity as the Supreme Lord himself. So that preparation has been simplified also by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He says you simply chant Hare Krishna. You chant Hare Krishna. So the beginning of the benefit of chanting Hare Krishna is Cheto Darpana Marjanam. The bhakti process, all the necessary changes that are required to happen in your heart, in your mind, in your intelligence, everything will happen. But you follow this process. Every day you chant Hare Krishna. All these changes will happen. You keep on chanting. Why chanting? Because we can't sit and properly study Bhagavad Gita. We can't do proper deity worship following all the rules and regulations of deity worship. So all these other processes of bhakti also are not very much feasible for majority of the people in Kali Yuga. Some rare person may be there, can sit and nicely study Bhagavad Gita and get the same benefit. But such a person is very rare. For studying Bhagavad Gita, some previous qualification is required. For doing deity worship, some previous qualification is required. Nowadays, at least people think, oh, you can go to some nice shop where they sell this small vigraha. Purchase that and purchase all the items available in puja store and then bring it home, take nice bath, wear one dhoti, put some tilak, and then do deity worship. What is there in deity worship? So deity worship is not just these externals. More important than these externals is your consciousness. First of all, when you are taking the deity and then you are offering some lamp or incense or something, what is your understanding of the deity? That the Supreme Lord, who is the unlimited Supreme Lord, He's so mercifully come in the form of this deity simply so that I can offer some service to Him and become blessed by Him. So merciful He is. So unless that understanding is there, the seriousness in the deity worship will never be there. So many times after doing something for repeatedly, some simple thing, think, oh, this is some mechanical thing I have to keep on doing whole life. Maybe at the end of life I'll get some benefit. Sometimes people say, I'm chanting since so many years, but my anger is not gone. Are you chanting properly? Are you applying the process sincerely? While chanting, you'll be all in between checking your mobile, some WhatsApp messages there. So that sort of chanting, it's still effective. Chanting is always effective, but it'll take long time. If you don't properly apply the process, bhakti is always effective, however you do it. But if you don't do it properly, it's going to take a long time. It's going to take it could take a very, very long time also. And your patience will wear out. Then you'll give up. So you have to apply the process properly. So if you chant nicely, this Cheto Darpana Marjanam, the very first thing that happens by chanting Hare Krishna, the cleansing of the heart, will happen very effectively. And when your heart is cleansed, then the next benefit, installment of benefit you get, Bhava Mahadavagni Nirvapanam. Your blazing fire of this material existence is extinguished. What is the meaning of that? All the miseries due to material existence itself, varieties of miseries, Adi Bhautika Klesha, Adhyatmika Klesha, Adi Daivika Klesha, you are freed from all that completely. It's a very big thing. The second benefit that is mentioned by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the Shikshashtaka, this can happen very quickly. Otherwise, through all other processes, it takes a very long time, several lifetimes. But here, simply by chanting Hare Krishna, if you properly chant, every word you chant, you see, once telling Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, just takes 10 seconds. In 10 seconds, you have chanted 16 names. Each name has 2 syllables. So you chanted 32 syllables. Each syllable is the Supreme Lord Himself. So when He enters your heart, if you chant properly, you pronounce properly, you hear properly, and you are attentive so that that sound that is heard actually enters your heart and touches your soul, then so much of dirty things are cleansed away. Actually, once chanting Hare Krishna is enough to fully cleanse your heart. But in the beginning, we are not perfectly chanting. Right? So, if you begin, at least make a good beginning. And in the beginning, everybody is chanting very nicely. Let me tell you this. Anybody. Beginning, you're chanting very, very nicely. In fact, instead of improving on that quality of chanting, generally the quality of chanting comes down. That's the general tendency. We do something repeatedly, we don't give much attention to it as we keep on doing it repeatedly. We wrongly think that now I become expert in chanting. You hardly begun chanting, already you have become expert. This is actually a big mistake. There's a long way to go after you begin chanting. You haven't even come to the stage of understanding what is offense against chanting Hare Krishna. That you will never understand in the beginning. Anyway, you're not expected to understand that the first time you're chanting. But you got a long way to go. That you have to also remember. So, if you chant properly, nicely, and keep on progressively improving your quality of chanting, then the effect will be so much more, very, very effective, that every chant, that Cheto Darpana Marjanam is happening, and as you go on improving your quality and increasing your quantity, then the cleansing will be faster, accelerated cleansing. Accelerated cleansing. And Prabhupada demonstrated this. The hippies who came in the beginning to Srila Prabhupada, and they very sincerely, seriously followed what Prabhupada was telling. 6 months they became full-time missionaries, first-class devotees. Nice shaved head, nice tilak, nice dress, clean, eating nice prasadam, doing nice chanting, japa, nice kirtan, nice seva. From what condition they came to this stage? They were lying in some gutter, smoking some drugs, ganja or some marijuana. From that stage, they came to become first-class devotees. At least in terms of basic practice, first-class devotees. Very sincerely following Prabhupada. Very satisfied, very happy. Bright faces, smiling, joyfully doing. How did this change happen? It's a miracle. How did this change happen? Because they simply followed whatever Prabhupada taught very nicely. And that's possible for everybody, not only hippies. Anybody can actually experience this change. It's possible. That's why it is said, bhakti means it requires faith. Shraddha. Faith means Shraddha. With Shraddha, if you accept the process of bhakti, you will very nicely do it. You will not theorize, it's easy, I don't have to do it only like this, I can do it another way also. Any way I do it, it will work. All this theorizing you will never do. Shraddha is that. Shraddha means you follow properly. You do it with full seriousness, sincerity of purpose. While you are chanting, stop all other activities. With chanting, don't keep on doing so many other things. No. Stop that. That you can attend to later. One round, it takes 10 minutes maximum. 10 minutes, you cannot stop all other activity. It's difficult because we are habituated. When we are doing something repeatedly and not very difficult thing, we also want to plan, we also want to think of something else, we also want to do some small thing. Oh, I forgot to switch off the light before starting to chant. Oh, while chanting itself, go and switch off the light. This is a tendency, no? All kinds of things we have got, bad habits. Efficiently utilize the time. Efficiently utilize the time during chanting is to exclusively chant, not simultaneously do so many other household work, small things. In between, make one small phone call to your friend. One round chanting, 10 minutes. In between, make one call, short call. So please understand, this is all simply delaying your progress in Krishna consciousness. During chanting, if you do anything else, you are delaying your progress in Krishna consciousness. So, bhakti is very easy. Bhakti is the most powerful process. Bhakti is the best process. Bhakti is the quickest process. Everything about all of the processes which may be nice is actually there in bhakti. But you have to become little sober, understand with a cool head, and properly practice. Seriously, nicely practice. And never think, I'm not able to practice nicely because of this reason, that reason. Never think like that, please. Never. Bhakti is not dependent on some good habits to be developed. If, let us say, I have a bad habit of always distracting while doing something repeatedly, which is very common, then to stop that, you simply have to chant. Don't have to do anything else. Chant, just chant. And by chanting and praying to Krishna, if you sincerely do it, Krishna, I've got this habit, kindly help me get rid of this habit. I'll nicely chant, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. The habit is gone. Everything which is detrimental for our progress in Krishna consciousness, Krishna will remove all your obstacles. But you have to allow Krishna to remove. For that, what you have to do? You have to chant. You have to pronounce the name. You have to hear. You have to have your attention. Attentively chant. Stop all other activities. Do it properly. It will happen, it will work. That's all. It will work. But, as it is said, the most easy things are the most difficult to do. That's true also. The most easy things are the most difficult to do. So, allow little time. Don't expect miracles before you actually properly chant. After you nicely chant, you can actually expect a lot of miracles in your life, a lot of changes. But it requires little time, even to properly sit and chant without distraction, 10 minutes, one round. At least 1 month, you have to properly practice. For somebody who is very disturbed in the mind, I'm telling you, it takes time. Some time you have to allow, no? So, this stage of Cheto Darpana Marjanam, you can accelerate this cleansing by properly chanting every day. Now, you may think, oh, why every day? If I do 3 times a week, it is okay, no? Again, yeah, it's okay 3 times a week if you are doing, but you are delaying your progress. And in between, what happens? Let's say today you chanted, tomorrow you don't chant. Then that arresting the deterioration of the consciousness by old habits, that you are not doing. If I don't chant tomorrow, not only that second installment of progress is delayed, but in the meantime, I have gone further down. Just like somebody is walking to reach a destination, 2 steps forward, then after that 1 step backward. Not only is he not making further progress by coming backward, he is even going back 1 step. So his progress has been lost. 2 steps progress has been lost. At least after going 2 steps, if you don't go back, at least 2 steps progress remains as it is. But that is not easy. The habits to always go backward. So therefore it is said, please chant every day. Don't miss chanting any day. Don't miss chanting. You may think, after all, one day if I don't chant, it's okay. But so much loss. So much loss. Not only you're losing the progress you could have made, but you're also going back. The earlier progress you have made also is lost. Very dangerous it is. To not do every day, very dangerous. It's a big loss. Big loss. So every day you must do. Don't distract. Give your time. Give your attention. Don't theorize. I'm not able to do because of this, because nothing. There is no need of any qualification. Don't look back and say, I did this bad thing, I did that wrong thing. Yesterday I did something wrong. Don't even bother about anything. What you did yesterday. What are your problems which you are trying to solve, which is not getting solved. Hare Krishna will solve all your problems. Nothing else is required. Have that faith. Have that faith. That's why you have to hear from the sadhus. You have to hear from Shukadeva Goswami. You have to hear from the devotees. They'll give you this correct understanding. They'll help you to properly apply the process. Therefore, in addition to chanting Hare Krishna, you have to hear Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam. You have to hear daily. Daily hear or read. So, bhakti process, if you are intelligent, you will apply. Of course, chanting alone is enough. But then the chanting can be enhanced. The benefit of chanting or improvement in the quality of chanting can be enhanced by adding this hearing Bhagavatam every day. By having darshan of deity, by taking prasadam. All this will enhance your quality of chanting, will accelerate your cleansing of your heart by chanting. You see? So bhakti is not just simply, chant, it's enough. No. Chanting is enough provided you are come to the stage of chanting properly. Then you do only chanting, nothing else is required. But till you come to the stage to improve chanting itself, you can do few other things which are not difficult. Anyway, you eat every day. So why don't you eat prasadam? So when you tell people eat prasadam every day, I can't offer every day. See, one thing in bhakti, please don't make excuses. I can't do this, I can't do that because of this reason. Don't make excuses. Rather than make excuse, you think, how I can actually do what is being told to do by taking help. By taking help of more experienced devotees. Yes, as I am telling you, maybe today you are not in a position to do something. Okay. But then you take help and try to find out how in your situation you can actually do it. Everybody's situation is different, unique. So that's why personal guidance is required in bhakti. Why did Prabhupada establish this Society for Krishna Consciousness? For everybody to get personal guidance. For everybody to get personal guidance. You require that personal guidance. That's why be in touch with devotees. Be in touch with devotees. And take guidance, take help. You can accelerate your progress. Very quickly you can make fast progress. You can make fast progress. For every problem of yours, there is a solution. As regards applying bhakti, nothing is impossible. in bhakti. Anybody's situation, however bad it may be, it is possible. Because you should remember, Krishna is in your heart and he is very anxiously waiting when you are going to properly execute this bhakti and quickly become perfect. He is waiting to take us back to his personal abode. That's why he is sitting there. Why is he sitting? Waiting when you are ready to come with him, to go with him. Don't you want to go quickly to Krishna's abode? So that's why you should read and hear what is Krishna's abode. They don't even know what is Krishna's personal abode like. Whole Vedas they read, they don't know. They don't know Krishna, they don't know Krishna's abode, they don't know Krishna is seated in the heart. See the process of jnana? Because they are busy trying to separate matter from spirit. So where is the time to understand who is Krishna? Bhakti, they don't say, try to understand how matter and spirit are different. Simply it is mentioned, Bhumi Rapo Nalo Vayu Kammano, two kinds of energies, material energy, spiritual energy. Something is explained in 7th chapter. Even if you don't understand how it is different and all, you accept it is different. Spirit is different, matter is different. Spirit is important, matter is not so important. Enough, your work is done. You don't have to spend all that time technically analyzing that. If somebody wants to analyze it, it's there in the scriptures. But why you want to spend time with all that? Why you want to spend time? If I give you a nice, to Mataji, I give a nice mixer. Earlier, mothers used to do that grinding with the grinding stone. So when the mixer came in the market, husband will nicely present a mixer to the wife. So the wife has to simply use it or open that and understand every part. How is this blade turning? Is it required? But some people's brain works like that. Unless I understand how it's working, I will not use it. Isn't it foolishness? This is like telling, until I go through Jnana Yoga, I will not practice Bhakti Yoga. This is foolishness. The stupidity. No need. So, Bhakti Yoga is everything I said, very easy, very powerful, very effective, quickest process. But you have to apply properly. You have to have the guidance. You should take it up very sincerely and seriously. It will work. You are not disqualified. Nobody is disqualified. Nobody is disqualified. It doesn't require any previous qualification. Just your willingness. Yes, I'll follow. That's all. Please tell me what I should do. I'll do it. Enough. This is called Shraddha. And somebody doesn't have Shraddha, come here. Simply sit here. Take prasadam. Take charanamrit. Have darshan of the deity. Hear Hare Krishna Kirtan, Japa. You will get that Shraddha. You will get that Shraddha. Even if you don't have Shraddha, you will get Shraddha. Everything is there. Prabhupada has made perfect. Everything perfect. I'll stop here. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So we have been conducting this distribution of Srila Prabhupada's books, Srila Prabhupada's book marathon for the year 2021 and 22. Srila Prabhupada book marathon ki. So all of you have seen this book of Srila Prabhupada, Bhagavad Gita as it is. So this is called as the Macmillan edition of Bhagavad Gita. There is a very interesting story behind how this book got published by Macmillan. It was in the year 1931, Srila Prabhupada got Diksha from his Guru, His Divine Grace Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Goswami Srila Prabhupada. 7 years later, in the year 1938, Prabhupada started writing the introduction to Bhagavad Gita. And in the year 1965, Srila Prabhupada reached New York. So as soon as Srila Prabhupada reached New York, his primary priority was Prabhupada wanted this Bhagavad Gita to be published. Because Prabhupada knew that Bhagavad Gita contains Lord Krishna's instructions to his loving devotee Arjuna, and this will be a very wonderful way in which Krishna conscious message can be conveyed. Before even reaching America, Prabhupada had written a 1,000-page translation of Bhagavad Gita. But unfortunately, it was lost. So Prabhupada started his second attempt to write the translation of Bhagavad Gita. And Prabhupada completed the 1,000-page second translation of Bhagavad Gita. And unfortunately, in the year 1966, some thieves broke into the room where Srila Prabhupada was staying, and Prabhupada's typewriter and all these translation manuscripts were stolen. So third time, Prabhupada again started translating this Bhagavad Gita. And in 1967, this was completed. And Prabhupada was looking for a publisher who could print this Bhagavad Gita. And at that time, to the New York temple where Srila Prabhupada was staying, a famous poet by the name Allen Ginsberg used to visit. He was a poet and he had published a lot of his books. So Prabhupada requested Allen Ginsberg, why don't you kindly publish this Bhagavad Gita of mine? So Allen Ginsberg, he was a very close friend of Prabhupada. So he approached a few publishers and requested them to publish this Bhagavad Gita. But all the publishers, not seeing some economic value in publishing this, rejected this offer of Prabhupada to publish this Bhagavad Gita. Then Prabhupada requested one of his early disciples, Raya Rama Prabhu. So he already had some knowledge about publishing, and Raya Ram Prabhu also took this manuscripts of Prabhupada and approached various publishers. But as expected, because not much economic value was seen in publishing this Bhagavad Gita, all the publishers rejected. Then Prabhupada approached one of his very enthusiastic disciples, Brahmananda Prabhu, and told him, you have to publish this Bhagavad Gita. Brahmananda Prabhu was thinking, if Allen Ginsberg, who was such an famous poet, he couldn't publish, and Raya Ram Prabhu, who had so much knowledge about publishing, if he couldn't publish, how will I do it? But he had faith in the words of Srila Prabhupada. At that time, Srila Prabhupada had released an album called as Happening. So it had the Hare Krishna Kirtan sung by Prabhupada, and devotees used to put advertisements in the local newspaper called as Village Voice and getting orders. So one such order came, and Brahmananda Prabhu saw that this order was from Macmillan office. Immediately, Brahmananda Prabhu went to Prabhupada and told that, Prabhupada, we have received an order from Macmillan, one of the world's largest publishers of books. So Prabhupada said, don't courier this album. You personally go to Macmillan office, and as soon as you go there, tell them that I am a disciple of a guru from India, and my guru has translated the entire Bhagavad Gita and it is ready for publishing. Brahmananda Prabhu, after he heard this statement from Prabhupada, he was surprised that Prabhupada was speaking with so much confidence and conviction. So next day, Brahmananda Prabhu puts on a suit and a tie and goes to Macmillan office. Brahmananda Prabhu is very much hopeful that Macmillan will publish this. But as soon as he reaches the office to hand over this album, he is little bit surprised because the order had come from a clerk who was working in Macmillan. So all the hopes of Brahmanand Prabhu was dashed. So Brahmanand Prabhu handed over that album to that clerk and just having a small discussion with him. At that time, one senior executive of Macmillan came to that place. At that time, the clerk introduced to Brahmanand Prabhu that this is our senior editor. And immediately Brahmanand Prabhu remembered what the statement what Prabhupada had told him. Brahmanand Prabhu told to that senior editor that I am a disciple of